Okay, so we're going to do this live. And I'm going to invite people like I always do. And this is going to be about karma. People are always asking me about, are they going to get their karma? Will they get their karma? And the answer is yes. And this is going to be about karma. People are always asking me about, are they going to get their karma? Will they get their karma? And the answer is yes. It's almost 3 o'clock in the morning. This is going to be a quick live. Okay, so clients always ask me, are they going to get their karma? We're not talking generally about just twin flames. We're just talking about people in general. Are they going to get their karma? And the answer is yes. This is not about revenge. This is about the concept of, are they going to get their karma? How do people get karma if they fuck you around? And now, it was an understanding that quite often, like 200, 300, 400 years ago, that people wouldn't get their karma till the next incarnation. And then over time, especially now in the 21st century, I can tell you that people get their karma within like weeks, months. So I had a client. I'm going to give you an example of karma. And this is actually about a twin flame. So this twin flame masculine was, had played a lot of games to the point where he had gone to a foreign country to marry another woman and got her pregnant within literally months of meeting her, and was hell-bent on showing his twin that he didn't need her and that he could do better. Okay? So he had decided, because he had multiple properties, and one property in particular, he was having some kind of dispute with an ex-partner, ex-lover. And so he decided to completely put holes in the walls of the house so it was hard for her to live in. He had made the statement that he wanted her to be homeless. She was an older woman, older than him. Went to court, won the case, and then fixed everything, and then put the house on sale. Now, this was during COVID lockdown where people were moving, as you all know, people were moving out of the cities and buying houses in the country for 2, 3, 4 times its price. There were bidding wars. You know that, right? Okay. So his house has, say, 6 acres. And he was asking $750,000 for the house. And it was well worth it, actually. It was actually valued at $750,000. And while people were doing bidding wars and getting multiple bids on their homes, he got nothing. And then he decided to get a hard money loan, 33%, and he had to pay it back in 6 months, or else some kind of weird stipulation of a balloon payment. That house sat for almost 9 months, I think it was almost 10 months. And the interest rate to his hard money loan increased, obviously, right? And by the time he sold it, he had sold it for $500,000. He had sold it for $250,000 less than its value to pay off the hard money loan and to get the money, to pay that off and then to get cash. So he might have thought, well, I'm going to make $500,000. He probably made at most $300,000 on the house. So karma, sometimes you're going to get front row seats and you're going to see it go down. And it's not because you're vengeful or you're trying to avenge yourself to a person that fucked you over. I don't care if it's a twin, a high-level soulmate, a family member, a friend, a boss at work. You don't even have to ask, will they get their karma? It's a guarantee. It's a boomerang effect. And it is a concern for many people because they think, I've been a good person, I'm being fucked over. Is there retribution for this behavior? How did the universe handle that? And the universe handles it in multiple ways that you will not see. And if you're lucky, sure, okay, you might see it. And what I mean by lucky, I don't mean lucky that, you get to see someone hurting for their behavior. I mean, you'll be lucky to see it because you'll learn how negative, toxic behavior is handled by universal law, karmic law. And that will teach you to actually be fucking careful with your steps, by the way, on the side note, because none of us walk on water, okay? We all have our shadows. Wow, I was just thinking about this topic today. Yeah, something told me that I should talk about it, because people really have a hard time with this, because they're feeling like they'll go on social media and they'll see their ex or twin flame having their best life, quote unquote, best life. Well, let me put it this way to you. And I've mentioned this before. When people post that many fucking pictures, unless they're getting paid, like Anara Smith, right? An influencer of that level, okay? And they're making buku bucks posting every fucking thing they're doing, unless that's the person's story. When they're posting that much shit, it's because they're so busy trying to convince everyone that they have a happy life. When you have a happy life, your life is so happy, you don't have time to post shit like that. You're too busy rolling in bed, making love to your lover, your twin, your high-level soulmate, and ordering room service. Just saying. And it's not a photo op. Just saying. So try not to get messed up in the head when you go on social media to spy on your twin or your high-level soulmate to see how they're doing. Don't now, we've all done it. Let's not play like we haven't. We've all done it, or we're about to do it. And it's not to shame you, believe me, because we've all done it. But the process of doing it is you're trying to find out if they are suffering with with having fucked you over by separation, betrayal, cheating, whatever, right? Trust me, karma and the process of karma, good or bad, is damn near, and I've seen it for years, damn near immediate. And when you're asking to be proven that they're gonna being hit by negative karma, you're actually lowering your vibration. I may have spied on my twin when we were in separation, just being honest, but I certainly never wished him harm. Does that make sense? I didn't spy on him to see if if he was having the worst life. I actually was making sure he was okay, to be honest. And was he safe, and was he all right? On the side note, had he found someone that made him very, very happy, I would have been like pissed off, but happy. You know what I mean? In a way going, okay, fine. Well, hopefully this person really loves them as much as I do. Fortunately for me, personally, we went back into union. But I know that some of the things he had done to me and my son, which caused the separation for us, God bless his soul, in 2021, the karma was fucking brutal. He got his ass kicked. So I just want you to know that this is just, you don't have to worry. And what worried me, and God bless him, that's actually partly why he got sick with terminal cancer, because he was pushing his body too hard and he was going through massive, massive, massive stress. So don't wish that on anyone. Trust me, sadly, some people's egos is so hell-bent on proving you wrong or wanting to punish you or wanting to prove to you that they don't need you, that they pull some cruel moves, very cruel, brutal, right? That they are going to get slammed by the universe. No one gets out of that unscathed. It's a boomerang effect. It is exactly that. What you reap, what you sow. You reap what you sow. This is one of the truest statement. Now, again, repeating myself, 200-300 years ago, people would have to drop their bodies, right? Pass away. And then they would go through a karmic life, right? Fraught with all kinds of challenges and all kinds of shit, okay? But in this incarnation that we're dealing with, in this timeline, in the 21st century, karma will happen within a year, less than a year, a week, a month. I guarantee you. Any questions on that? Because I know that is a concern for many people. Because you feel like they're getting away with it. Believe me, trust me, they're not. They're not getting away with it at all. Not even close. Okay? Any questions on that? On karma? Okay. So beyond karma, when you are walking in your light, when you are being true and honest to your heart chakra, good karma will come to you because the universe will actually smile on you and give you signs that you are actually moving in the right direction. So that's another sign of good karma, positive karma. And so how does that work? Well, when you have a tower moment, because we're going to talk about karma regarding you, okay? When you betray yourself, did you hear me? When you betray yourself, negative karma will come and slam into you. You might know them as tower moments. And they are tower moments. And those tower moments aren't there to punish you in this particular case, because you didn't harm anyone. You're betraying yourself. You're going against your desires, your passions, your instincts. You're actually gaslighting all of your downloads, your dreams, your signs, because you're afraid. Because you've lost the ability to trust yourself. Somewhere down the line, as a kid, as a teenager, as a young adult, you lost your power to trust yourself. And so when you've got a white knuckle grip on your fear and you're letting your monkey mind direct traffic, you're going to get slammed by a tower moment, a karmic moment. It might be you falling down the stairs, twisting your ankle, a car accident, a loss of job. It's not there to punish you. I'm repeating this again because honestly, I'm going to tell you something about the human brain. It only captures 15% of what a person says. This is why quite often you'll hear me repeating the same shit 60 different ways in 60 different lives, because I understand the human brain. And then suddenly one day I'll have a client or a follower say, I got it. And I've been watching them for a while and I know that they've been on my lives, and they'll get one day out of the blue, I got it. Because it clicked at the right moment. Okay, so when you have a tower moment, it's because you haven't been listening to your signs, to your dreams, to your intuition. And so the universe will say, look, he is not listening. That's it. Fuck this. We're going to go ahead and shove them. We're going to bump into them, or we're going to shove them, or we're going to slap them awake. Now, when I remember telling people, clients in the old days, I think it was 15 to 20 years ago, I would tell people, when you have workers' comp, it's a sign for you to reset your direction. It means this is not your job. This is not what you're supposed to be. You're going against the grain. You're people pleasing. You're doing what everyone is expecting you to do, but you are not doing one thing for yourself. You don't have the courage to listen to your passions. You've castrated your passions, essentially. And so karma won't be there to harm you, but to redirect you. And if you're smart, when you have that fender bender, or you twisted your ankle, or whatever, right? You're not going to say fuck, and go on about the same business, taking the same road stubbornly. A spiritually smart person is going to sit and go, wait, what the hell's going on? What are you guys trying to tell me? Why this? Not why me, like victim mode. Why? What am I not hearing? What is the lesson? What am I not getting? And then you may want to do something I learned from Lee Harris, is a prompt. So I'm going to give you the prompt. Okay, it's a very powerful prompt. The first thing you're going to write is, I give my soul permission to guide me on the ... the job, the twin, my life path, my passion. I allow my soul to guide me from the highest light. And for 5 minutes, you can put on the clock for 9 minutes, literally on the clock, and write, just write. Just don't think, don't pause. Let your somatic body, your hand, graze across the pages and write. Don't, there's no grammar here. There's no dotting your I's and crossing your T's. This is about almost regurgitating, vomiting, toxicity, whatever, fears, whatever. And you should be able to read what you're sharing with yourself, and you might be shocked at what your soul or even your body is communicating to you. And that could actually help you reset your compass in the right direction, because if you're going north and you're supposed to be going south, you will have a tower moment. I'll tell you that right off the bat. Any questions? Let me read your comments real quick. Hang on. I want to see what you guys have to say, and I'll read it out loud. No one understands why I didn't cut my ex for all he did. Karma took care of that for me. Exactly. Thank you, Jennifer. That is quite something. What do you have on karmic marriages? Okay, well, first of all, let me say every single person on this planet has karma. Okay? Every single marriage is karmic. There's always, it's either good or bad. And no offense, typically it's fucking not that good, okay? Until you've done some work. So karmic marriages, I don't like to put it that way. How about this? We're going to call them learning lessons, okay? And when you are married to someone who is definitely not a connection for you, my question to you is, what the fuck are you still doing in the marriage? What is it, the 1880s where you can't divorce? Is it the 1880s where if you're a woman divorcing your husband, you're fucked because there's no way for you to inherit property, start a business or whatever, because it's so damn difficult because women have no rights? Is that your situation? So my question to you, as a married person who is asking, what about karmic marriages? Yeah, what about it? What are you still doing in a marriage that clearly doesn't make you happy? Because you see, you can still love a person, as I did with my high-level soulmate, and we had a lot of beautiful, good karma and not so good, challenges. And nothing wrong with him as a human being. An incredible man, actually. A man of great, a lot of integrity, but a lot of wounds, a lot of pain. And and some marriages just have an expiration date, period. It means it's over, but you're still holding on to stuff. You're holding on because there's a part of you that's afraid of being alone. There's a part of you that doesn't want to hurt the person. There's a part of you that, you're not sure if this is the right thing to do. What will my family think? What will my friends think? Where will I be? I'm too old to do this now. Maybe we should just be companions. Maybe we should have a celibate marriage. Maybe we should it's okay to be in a marriage where I look at my spouse as a sibling, not as a beloved, not as a lover, not as a partner. That's all toxic shit. That's all. You're breadcrumbing yourself. You're betraying yourself, breadcrumbing yourself, which means you're no longer in alignment. So, and to live my truth. Hang on, my marriage was a karmic marriage. My lesson in this life was to cut the ties and to live my truth. Exactly. So I hope that answers your question, because at the end of the day, what makes it karmic in your mind? I mean, you should really make sure you understand. Is it karmic or are you bored? Is it karmic or is the sex stale? Is it really karmic, or are you want some more excitement? I mean, be clear. I mean, is it? Or are you going through a season in your marriage where right now you're going through the winter season? And that's something only you can answer. I can't answer it for you in this particular venue. Does that make sense? So karmic marriages are in abundance, okay? And they've been going on for thousands of years. This is, no one's inventing this shit. But the irony of ironies is we're still acting like it's 300-400 years ago with these marriages. I'm waiting. I'm holding on for the kids. Let me tell you a story that I talk to a lot of clients when they say things like, well, he's waiting till she has a job so that he doesn't have to pay alimony and child support. Well, they're tied in with properties and businesses, and it's very complicated. I'm going to tell you the story I tell everyone. Michael Douglas fell in love with Catherine Zeta-Jones. Catherine Zeta-Jones, the actress in Zorro and many other movies. Beautiful woman, okay? Michael Douglas and her have a 25 plus age gap, okay? And I think he was just going to check her out and make her his lover for maybe a month or summer, I don't know. But he was shocked he actually fell in love with her. And she with him. And to marry her, because he wanted to marry her and have children with her, he had to divorce his wife, right? The tab to divorce his wife was $50 million. Not 50 million. He had to pay $50 million. He wrote a check for $50 million to end his marriage with his wife, so he can marry Catherine Zeta-Jones. By the way, they're still married. So my point to you is this: money can always be made, but when a man or a woman uses the excuse that it's cheaper to keep her or him, or it's complicated, Our businesses are all tied up in it's all fucking gaslighting. They're gaslighting themselves and you. And they're wasting precious years because no one knows when our expiration date is. In other words, when we're going to drop our bodies. There's all this weird idea in these incarnations that we have plenty of time, and we don't. And we don't. And that's why quite often we'll hear stories, right, of somebody, young person losing their life. It's a reminder, it's a reminder that, yeah, don't waste your time just thinking that next year you'll do X, Y, and Z. Sometimes next year isn't your destiny. And so I often tell clients to make death their advisor. If this was the last week on earth, would you tell the person you love them? I hope the answer is yes. Because you don't know. You don't know. And people are always shocked, okay, at a loss, because it's shocking. And so if you make death your advisor, which is something Carlos Castaneda was writing about in his books, I don't know if you guys know Carlos Castaneda, but he was a very famous author on shamanism and things of that nature that my twin adored. But make death your advisor and fear your ally. Making fear your ally is saying, I'm afraid of this. Not I'm afraid of jumping out of a plane with no parachute. Not anything insane like that. I'm talking about I'm afraid of public speaking. I'm afraid of divorcing. I'm afraid of living on my own. I'm afraid of going to see a movie on my own, or to have a lunch at a table alone. I'm afraid of doing shit like that. Well, then that means you better do it, because that means that you're about to grow exponentially. And so when a person in the 21st century is asking about a karmic marriage, great question. It's a great question because you're not alone. But my question to all of you is, why are you still doing it? Is it that you need each other's paychecks to make the rent? Because if that's the reason, I understand it, and I'm not going to shame you on it. But if you're sitting on some money and you're fine, then why are you doing it at this point? For the kids? What, you don't think the kids know that the marriage is shit? You actually don't think your kids will grow up and come to you when they're 25, 27, and you'll be in your 70s or in your 60s, and they'll tell you, Mom, I always knew, or Dad, I always knew you weren't happy with Mom. And you'll be shocked thinking that they were clueless. So I'm not like trying to create people in mass divorce, but I'm also not going to support people staying in karmic, toxic marriages. What's the reasoning behind that? And typically it's fear of being alone. And sometimes I feel as if being alone is probably something you need to experience for a while until you heal some of the stuff that made you afraid to leave in the first place, that heals the codependency. I used to think I was codependent until I realized I wasn't codependent. I was just sometimes toxically loyal. There's a difference. It's not the same. Because I've always been comfortable going and having lunch on my own. I was doing this shit at 17, 18, going to see movies alone, shit like that, my whole life. I wasn't afraid of being alone. Alone wasn't the issue. In fact, I was always a lone wolf. The issue, okay, so recognize what your issue. Are you really codependent, or are you toxically loyal? In my case, I was toxically loyal. And I had to learn how to unlearn that behavior, which I had learned from my mother, God bless her soul. And many, many women of her generations and generations way down the line, hundreds of years, were toxically loyal. That means that they were pandering and accepting bad behavior from their partners or husbands or wives, whatever. And so recognize that if you are codependent, if you are afraid of being alone, then you better fucking start being alone. Force yourself. Go rent a cabin on Airbnb for 2 days and go alone. That's right, alone. Bring your groceries, journal, listen to audible books, some esoteric books, start chanting, meditating, go alone. And learn how to enjoy your own company. I'm always struck by how some people are always so fucking busy. Like they're afraid of being busy. I mean, they're afraid of not being busy, excuse me. And I always wonder, what are they running from? Because see, when you're alone, you're in silence quite often, right? Or there's a little music playing, right? High frequency music, hopefully. And you're alone and you're in your thoughts. You might journal and you get to excavate some shit that came out of nowhere sometimes. Sometimes it's stuff you've been tackling with and wrestling with for a number of years. But people who are constantly busy, right? Constantly busy, not purposely. I don't mean people who are having, God bless them all, who have 2 to 3 jobs just to survive. I'm not talking about that. I don't want to confuse the discussion here. I'm talking about people who are constantly doing shit constantly. and and the only time, excuse me, they stop is when they sleep. That's someone running from themselves. They're like literally running from themselves. And that is toxic because we all need space and we all need time to ourselves. There's this thing called bed rotting. Have you heard of it? It's called bed rotting. That's a symptom of complex trauma. Love the alone. It's peace, lonely, but peaceful. Exactly. What is a complex trauma? Tell me. Addicted to chaos. Oh, okay, got it. Addicted to chaos. Thank you, Audrey. I just read the beginning of your sentence. Thought it was generational curse. Toxic loyal. I need to remember that. That was what I was too. Yeah, toxic loyalty is fucked up. And we've learned it all. Many of us as women and men, because some of you men have also, you'll be toxically loyal to people. That means you will be loyal to someone. It doesn't matter if the whole thing collapses, you'll still be there to clean up the mess. And it's not a one-time thing. I'm not saying don't be loyal, because sometimes things happen, you know. People fuck up, you know, and you love them, so you want to be there for them. What I mean by toxically loyal is it is a constant, where they're constantly fucking up, and here you are picking up the pieces, and you're toxically loyal. You will not leave them. You will not give them an ultimatum in them shifting their behaviors. So, but thank you, Audrey, for saying that about complex trauma. It's tough, you know. Okay. Never heard. Okay. What else? I'm reading your, trying to read your stuff right now. All right, let's move on. Thank you, Jennifer, for saying that. So, any questions on this concept of karma? Because it's very important that you guys don't ruminate. Just know. I don't know where I learned this. I think I remember when I was married to my husband, when I was in my 20s, things would happen, you know, normal things that, you know, somebody fucks you over, or they fuck with your paycheck or whatever, you know, when you're in your 20s, 30s, whatever. And I learned a long time ago, I would say to my husband, they better not fuck with us because the karma's a bitch. And so very early on in my journey in this particular incarnation, I learned that truth. But as I became more and more involved with clients, right? And this question constantly came up. And I would explain to them, because they'd say, well, can you tell me if they're going to pay karma? They would have me throw cards to that question. And I would counsel them. Of course, I would read for them and tell them, yeah, of course. But sometimes, and I would show, I would tell them the reading. And sometimes I would see positive shit happening to them. But positive shit happening to them with 9 of Swords anxiety, with 8 of Swords, with 10 of Swords, with Tower moments. It meant that even though on the surface it looked like everything was still good, that they were still financially good, or their marriage was still good, the point is, in the background, shit was starting to hit the fan. Because you don't get Tower moments. You don't get 10 of Swords, which is betrayal. You don't get 9 of Swords, for example, which is anxiety, right? You can't sleep. You're a prisoner of your own mind, that kind of shit. 8 of Swords as well. It's interesting how it would come up. In fact, I just did a reading tonight for a client who asked me, are they going to, because it's a very wealthy family that's done some very fucked up things to get to that level of wealth. We're talking about $100 million levels, okay? And I did the reading for this gentleman. And yeah, sure enough, I said, you're probably not going to see it, but trust me, the shit's coming because I'm seeing tower all over. Because, I clarify with another deck and I'm seeing towers coming out of two decks. It's like, what the fuck? And death and all, you know what I'm saying? So I said to him, I doubt you'll hear about it. I think until it's so intense that they can't hide it anymore, and then you'll hear about it through the grapevine, and you might hear it a year later that this happened to them. Yeah, but it's the shit's about to get real. Like, they're not getting away with that. It's not for the 21st century. That is no longer a reality. Now you might ask me, well, what about the leaders of the world that have fucked everyone over and blah blah blah? The karma comes in many ways. Again, you will not see it. Who could I give you an example without offending you politically? Okay, I'm going to put it this way to you. There are leaders, I'm not even going to say presidents, I'm going to say world leaders who did some pretty fucked up shit and they lived a long time with Alzheimer's. You don't think that's karma? You really think it matters now that they've got all this money and they got servants and shit with Alzheimer's? Really? You think so? So that's karma. Karma comes in multiple ways. And it is not your job to decide what karma the universe needs to wield. Just be understanding that their karma is coming. And so this is why we really need to be careful, okay? Very careful of how we tread, okay? And do our best. If we can't do our best, that's okay. But as long as you are doing your best, you really are trying to do your best, and you're taking care of your business, you're taking care of your family or the people that you love, and you're doing your best, then you're cool. You don't have to worry about shit. Karma's not going to fucking hit you in the ass. The only time it will is if you betray yourself. And that's it. Hang on. Let me see what else. What if the twin flame ignores you? Ghosting, if you look up ghosting is considered a very harmful, it's considered one of the most harmful things you can do to another person is to ghost them. Most harmful thing you can do. Okay? So that's not good. And especially if you know and I'm just going to be blunt here. If this is truly your twin flame, don't take offense when I say that. This is for other people to listen to. If you fuck with your twin, you're not going to do well. Period. It's not even a warning. It's not my law. I've just seen it again and again. God bless my twin's soul. It happened to him. Okay? He suffered massively in the 2 years of separation we had. I've seen it with other twins. I just illustrated one example of this guy losing $250,000, probably more than that actually, on a property that should have sold with ease during the COVID lockdown where people were fucking, offering $100,000 more on a house that was worth $200,000. Now suddenly the house was going for $300,000-$400,000. Come on, this was happening. He couldn't sell that house for nothing. Okay, and it was a beautiful house. That's what his twin, and they were in separation, told me. Okay, so let me just say that's how it works. So yeah, ghosting is abusive. I'm going to give you an example of how to handle ghosting. Okay, first of all, don't ghost anyone. No one. I had somebody who was a friend and an acquaintance. We were developing a friendship. I'm going to put it that way because that's more accurate. And we didn't have a fallout, but she made some stupid comments to me that were rude, insulting, and arrogant. And I don't like, it's not that I don't like conflict. I'm very comfortable with conflicts, just so you know. But I wasn't going to cut her at the knees because I knew she was going through a very bad time. She was homeless, basically, sleeping on people's couches. So her comments, though rude, I wasn't going to slay her with my words because I knew it was coming from a place of, I don't know where it was coming from, but I knew that she was too vulnerable for me to do anything. That would have really slayed her. I wasn't going to do that to her. So almost a year later, she texts me and she says, blah, blah, blah. And I say, and I was right on the mark. I said, listen, I can't offer you friendship. She goes, you're still mad? I go, no, I'm not mad. I don't give a shit. But I don't let people shit on me twice, just so you know. Now, family, like my son, my twin, my mother, people I love, well, okay. But not people that are acquaintances. You shit on me once, you're done. And she was like, well, blah, 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 and this and that and the other. And finally I said, look, no, seriously, I can't offer you a friendship. I didn't ghost her. Do you know what she said? She thanked me. She said, at least you weren't silent. At least you weren't silent. At least you told me what the issue is. I go, yes. And I wish you the best. I want abundance for you. I want you to be happy. And I actually meant it. Ghosting is fucked up and it's a cowardly behavior. When you ghost someone, it not only is a cowardly behavior, the karma, the boomerang of that behavior is coming. And it comes very fast, you know? So don't ghost people. Let them know straight up. I can't offer you this. I can't do that for you. I don't want you in my life right now. I don't want you in my life forever. But don't do it out of anger. Do it out of a calm, you know what I mean? A calm, compassionate tone in your text. Had it been anyone else that I love, that I really, really love, I would have picked up the fucking phone. I would have picked up the phone and dialed the phone on a FaceTime to see their face so they could see mine, so we could really get emotional with each other and repair the damage. But I'm not going to do that with certain people that aren't in my heart. Does that make sense? But never ghost anyone. That's cowardly, in my opinion. Actually, I don't think it's just my opinion. I know it is because of what I've read. I was away from, what is it? Karma can also reward you, give out what you want. Yeah. I'm not going to call it weak. I'm going to call it cowardly because it's cowardly. Let's use the right words for the right things. It's a coward's act. When a man takes a woman out to dinner, let's just say, right? And the woman no longer wants to date him, or the man no longer wants to date the woman, the appropriate thing to say, it's a gentlemanly thing or ladylike thing to say, I had a great night, but I don't think we have a connection. I wish you the best. Thank you so much. And that's it. You don't have to ghost people. It's a cowardly move. I think the word is appropriate, believe me. Because you can be weak. Okay, you can be weak, mentally weak, physically weak, spiritually weak, and have the integrity not to be a coward. So I think that, yeah, I just want to I'm very funny about words because it's not like we have that many words that are really specifically good at communicating. So, you know what I mean? So I just call them out. Any other questions or comments? So do you have anything you want to say on anything? Exactly. Cool. What else can I tell you about karma? So when you go on your path, let's say, okay, so let's go back to you, okay? We already know the concept of karma and people being paid, getting the karmic retribution for being, for fucking up, for hurting you or others. We know that's, don't even worry about it. It's handled. Trust the universe. Don't get too involved with that shit. Because all you'll do is lower your frequency, ruminate on all the ways you want the universe to bring karma to them. Don't do that shit, okay, at all. Another way people can incur negative karma is when you do love spells. I love how they're constantly, trying to make comments on my post saying, love spells, find your love. Love spells is a karmic no. It's a massive, it's so toxic because you're controlling someone's free will. Because yes, they work temporarily so. If you've ever read Edgar Allan Poe's, I think it was Edgar Allan Poe, correct me if I'm wrong, The Monkey's Paw, you don't play with shit like that because the retribution, the karmic hit is massive. And it might take a long time before you can actually recover from it. I had a young man, this is when I was working for Psychic Source, and I had a young man, 30-minute deal, and 30-minute call, and he had done a love spell, and he had brought in an entity, and he was freaking the fuck out. And at this point, when he explained everything, I had 20 minutes to tell him what to do. So I did. And then click, it was over. But he was freaking out. You can sometimes bring in things you really don't want to bring in. Because it is a no-no. It's a spiritual no-no to mess with people's free will. This is why remote viewers shouldn't remote view. to find out if someone's cheating. That's a massively karmic no-no. It's a universal no-no. And the karmic retribution is massive. They talk about it. No spells here, goody. So just know that, okay? Don't be so desperate that you want to hire someone to burn voodoo tata candles and do all kinds of shit. It will work, but it'll be temporary, and then the repercussion is massive. So let's go back to you now. Let's go back to you in terms of good karma. So when you start following the compass of truth, which is in your heart chakra, once you start moving into co-creating with the universe your mission, at that point, you will be able to reap the benefits. And the universe will give you many, 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 many signs. And your guides have such a sense of humor that they will bring you things at your feet. And I haven't told that story in a while, but I think I'm going to tell you this story. It's a funny story. So I've been chanting and meditating for I don't know, probably at least almost 20 years, okay? I used to meditate and chant all the time, but then you fall off the wagon and blah, blah. But 20 years ago, I started doing it like every day, okay? And I didn't miss, if I missed a day, I didn't miss two. Let's put it that way, okay? So, but anyway, so I was on a really high level of connection with the universe. I was really growing my compass within my heart chakra. And I was driving from LA County, LA, to up to Northern California. And I really wanted, I usually only wanted to stop at a gas station, right? I wanted to stop because I needed to go to the loo, to the bathroom. And I wanted to find a gas station that was going to be because it was nighttime, it was like 10 o'clock at night. And as a woman, being careful, I didn't want to go off the freeway and do the loop and all that bullshit. I wanted to just find one that was right there so I could just turn right into it and then go back out onto the highway. Okay? So I remember thinking to myself, well, I'm going to go. I guess I'm going to have to loop because I don't think I'm going to get gas. I think it might be a while. And I remember hearing my guy saying, no, wait. I'm like, I really have to go to the bathroom. No, wait. I went, okay. 10 minutes elapsed, and I found a Chevron station. I believe, yeah, it was a Chevron station. I pulled in. I was going to get gas anyway, as I said, and I went up to the guy, asked for the key to the bathroom, and walked in to the most stunning fucking bathroom I've ever seen in my life. It was all black marble. I started laughing my ass off. I had never seen... I've been in 5-star hotels in Hong Kong, in London, and I looked at this bathroom that looked like something out of one of the 5-star hotels that you would go to or whatever. Black marble, shining, beautiful, veined, gorgeous. Of course, I went and did my business. I couldn't fucking believe it. Later on, I told that story to a couple people, and they all, some of the people I said this to, remembered that bathroom. I don't know where it is in Northern California. It's in between LA and Northern California, but it's there on a stretch of a highway. And it showed me, again, how funny my guides are, how funny they have a sense of humor. And there was no way I was ever going to forget that story or this experience of trusting my guiding system, trusting what I was being told by my guides, listening, and knowing that no matter what, I was being divinely guided to the right place at the right time. And they will give you mundane moments, like I want to go to the bathroom now, and give you a fucking palace, shit like that. So the moral of the story is you got to be patient. You got to be patient, and you got to listen. You can't be stubborn. You can't go against what they are telling you, because if you do, you're kind of you got to do better. Does that make sense? You got to just keep listening to your mind and go through the process of awakening your compass and your heart chakra, heart coherence, And you can do that by chanting and so on. Let me read your comments. Bear with me. Let me read your comments. Hang on. In this healing, my granddaughter has passed. I'm not the same. 3/26/24, 6/27/24. I am so sorry. So sorry. Accidental co-sleeping. Wow. Jennifer gave you a book she's telling you to read. It's called Journey of Souls. This is very hard for me to say this to you, but I think I'm going to say it to you anyway, and please don't take offense, okay? That child was supposed to be born on that day, and it was supposed to leave on that day. And you might say, well, it was that reason. Yes, it was that reason, but it was always, when you read Journey of Souls and Destiny of Souls, when you start understanding soul contracts and how long we are born, many of us have been incarnated and we passed away at the age of 3 drowning, or we passed away at the age of 6 months via SIDS or whatever, right? Or other reasons, other reasons. The thing about these young lives that come for a minute, literally they land in our hearts and then fly away, is there's a lot of reasons for that. And the reasons sometimes are, and I'm just going to tell you, sometimes we incarnate as a girl because we really don't want to be a girl for that much. We just want to be a girl for like maybe 3-4 years, and we have a soul contract with these people, and we're going to pass away, and everyone's going to learn about the impermanence of life. And hopefully they're going to start asking the right spiritual questions. And we leave, and then we have our next incarnation, the one we really want to have, which is we want to be a man. And we want to be a man that's going to live 80 years. And we want grandchildren. We want great-grandchildren. And we want to live a really abundant, beautiful life. You see what I'm saying? So I'm hoping that in me sharing that with you, you're not going to take offense, and it's not denigrating your loss. Okay? Hopefully you'll see some of the reasons behind these losses. Okay? There's always this questioning of, could I have prevented this? Could I have prevented this? So I guess it's time for me to speak of stories that will illustrate this. One of the stories I always talk about, do you want to hear it? Do you want to hear the story? I knew about her before she came. Yes. And you can contact her. This is an ancient soul that took on this incarnation and decided, had already decided that they weren't going to stay. So you want to definitely talk to her. But like when my twin was diagnosed in March of, actually he was diagnosed in April, with brain cancer, right? Like it came out of nowhere. Okay. But it's normal to ask yourself, well, could I have done something? Could I have prevented this? Could I have saved this child? In my case, my twin. And the answer is no. So I'm going to tell you a story. Hopefully I might tell you two, but I'm going to tell you this one. There's a helicopter pilot, Vietnam vet. He was working for the news in Los Angeles, as a matter of fact. And there was a helicopter accident. And there were the reporter, him, somebody else. I think there were 4 people and it was the kind of crash where no one should have survived. No one. And yet they all did. The following week, he passed away in a car accident. So he was definitely supposed to pass away within a week, right? He was not going to live beyond a week. But what was interesting, if you think about it, is hopefully, God bless his soul, he was able to say, wow, this was a close call. Let me tell everyone who I love that I loved them. And let me tell everyone who I had some issues with, let me forgive them. If I can't forgive them face to face or even verbally, right? Let me forgive them and forget. But he had a week. He was given a grace period of 7 more days, and then boom, he was gone. So though this is an incredible loss to lose, especially a young child, a baby, right? We have to understand that these souls are ancient. They're old souls. And they are here to teach us for 20 years of their life, 3 months of their life, 60 years of their life or more. And that's it. And this is very hard to accept. And yet, as you go through this excavation of spirituality and incarnation and soul contracts and temporary visits to this planet through incarnation, through blood lineages. You know, certain families we incarnated in, and then other families we incarnate for a very short time, and so on. Hopefully you'll find more and more information that, in other words, when you have a loss like that, it drives you to ask a lot more fucking questions. You want to know why, you want to know how, and then you start connecting with the soul and talking to them. So hopefully you'll be able to do that. Okay, so Journey of Soul is a good beginning. It's a hell of a good beginning. And you might, it's funny because that's the book I tell a lot of people to read, that one and Destiny of Souls by Michael Newton. And I tell people to read it after or while they're about to lose someone, or if they've lost someone. And it gives them clarity. We just had in our group a woman whose sister unalivened herself. I hate that bloody word. Who took her own life. And her boyfriend started reading the book. And it really, really, really helped him. And I believe they have Journey of Souls on YouTube for free, so you can look it up. I just lost my brother. I'm so sorry. I only met her on the phone. I gotcha. But it's still a connection. We're good listeners. Drop me a DM. So any other questions? The loss, the temporary lives that we have, that also other people have, is always a lesson. Always a lesson. And it's a gift, okay? It's a gift to us. When they leave us behind, they give us a gift to understand the impermanence of life and to have a little more urgency in living our passions on this planet. You know what I mean? I hope that makes sense. I think what the problem is with our society is that we have lost the understanding of how to speak about death. We're afraid of it. We won't talk about it. We avoid it. And I know this for a fact. We are good listeners. Draw me a DM. Thank you, Jennifer. I'm so sorry. Yeah. No, I mean, we are losing. And by the way, I don't know if you guys have heard this or you've been listening to other content creators or writers, like who there are a lot of people, souls that are going to drop their bodies, a lot, because they have more power on the other side. And they can do more on the other side than they can here. And that is the truth. And sometimes they need to. She was here to teach love. She was here to teach you to be true to your life. And not to stay in any situation that isn't true to your heart. Because life is impermanent. So love is always love. Love is always surrounding babies and so forth, because they're the closest to the source energy. They you know what I'm saying? But she when a child passes away, the lesson, the takeaway for you all of you, is not to keep wasting time thinking that next year you can do this, that, and the other. If you want to go to Brazil, book a flight next week, next month. If it's a money situation, then plan it and then put the deposit and leave in 6 months, for example, to Brazil, you know, or France, or Bali, or wherever. It's a lesson not to waste time in mundane ideas that one day you'll do this and that. One day may not happen for your one day. Your one day may never happen. Those are the lessons when people who are young pass. That's our lesson. Or people who lose their life in a car accident. Like a minute ago you were talking to them, an hour later you learn that they're gone. You see what I'm saying? That's what happened to my husband. In 2020, it was his birthday, right? And then 2 days later he was gone, okay? From a heart attack. Like boom, gone. That was it. 1 minute my son's talking to him. At 7:30 in the morning, he naps, wakes up, finds his father, and suddenly 2 hours later, his father's gone. Do you see what I'm saying? What's the lesson? Don't waste your time on mundane fears. Don't be afraid to try new things in your life. Don't be afraid to live the most authentic, passionate life that you've ever experienced in memory. That's what this is about. Open your mouth, write your book, travel. If you want to do this, that, and the other, then go do it. Right? If you are limited by money, then plan it and pay it into that plan to actually experience that you want to have. Don't wait. Well, in 3 years, I'll just get it done. You may not. There's this arrogance that we're immortal. We're immortal. Our souls are immortal, but not this particular incarnation. That's not an immortal vessel. Okay. And that's what we need to understand. Okay. And you can communicate with these souls. I hope you know that, right? It's not difficult, but you need to not gaslight yourself. You know what I'm saying? So true. Get it done. Exactly. I was trying to grieve. But you don't have to try. I hope to God that you do grieve. You're allowed to grieve. Some virus or something, the doctors never figured it out. My brother was in his prime. I'm going to tell you something. It's interesting that he had some kind of virus that they couldn't figure it out. And again, my condolences to you. And I hope you're trying to reach out to your brother yourself. Okay? Don't hire psychic voodoo tata people. Do it yourself. Or do it through hypnotherapy to connect with your brother or that baby. That we're going to call it a baby for a minute. That soul that was in this baby's body. Okay? We're going to do it like that. Because you've got to remember, this soul is fully capable of speaking to you the way I'm speaking to you. In terms of your brother passing from a virus and the doctors can't figure it out, that was his time, my friend. I hate to say it to you like that. Like, it's not nonchalant. It's a shock. But it was time. Okay? And many of, like, for example, I'll give you an example of my twin because I don't want to sound like I'm not feeling your pain. But when my twin died July 19th, which is just, it's going to go 6 weeks soon, right? I knew that he needed to pass away, and I told him that. We had conversations until he couldn't speak anymore. But for him to achieve 5D consciousness, he had to drop this body because this somatic body had too much traumatic memories, too much behavioral patterns, blueprints that weren't his. And for him to get into 5D so I could meet him when I dropped my body, he had to drop his body. And I talk to him every day. It's not the same. Don't get me wrong. Okay. I'm not going to lie to you and say, oh yeah, it's fine. No, it's not. It's different. So you're going to have to toggle between the human experience of grief, which I talk about all the time, and the transcendental experience and understanding that we are multidimensional souls and that we are not separated in truth, that we will see them again in new ways. But what we're going to be grieving is the ability to hear their voice again, to see them as they were in this particular incarnation. And that's tough. It's hard. It hurts. And so you're going to weep. And then you're going to have moments of, in your case with your brother, of laughter because you'll have memories. And you'll laugh. You'll chuckle at something and know that he's beside you, and try to connect with him. I'm not joking. Make an effort. If you haven't already, which I doubt, I'm sure you have, keep trying. If he's not connecting with you, okay, what's happening is that he has to process, depending on when he passed. Let me see. Her grandma attacked me and my family after her passing when she was accountable. I think it's just usually when somebody attacks in this particular situation, it's usually a fear and grief. I was trying to grieve. Can she send versions of someone in your vision? Can she send versions of someone in your vision? I don't know what that means. I'm sorry. Just a few days ago. Oh my God, Empress. Empress. I am so sorry. So sorry. Depending on where he's at on his journey, you know what I'm saying? I hope you know what I'm saying by what I mean by his journey, meaning his transformation, his journey. By the way, we got Wow, this is wild. I'll tell you in a minute what I'm just noticing. My twin's here right now as we speak. Depending on where he's at as his journey, you could actually contact him right away. You don't have to wait. Okay? Depending on where he's at, how he's processing this. If he was spiritually aware of reincarnation, for example, if he accepted reincarnation, for example, then the transitioning of his journey will be very easy. If he didn't believe in that, then make sure that you hold sacred space for him. And I usually tell people to light a white candle and to watch over it and do it every day until you know they've crossed over well, until they've done their final crossing over. 23, that's right. He's here. He's constantly here. Visions and dreams come true. Yes. Where can I find that book? Oh, you can just go on Amazon. So it's called Journey of Souls with Jennifer. It's by Michael Newton. You should both get the book. Journey of Souls by Michael Newton. Those books had me take his training to become a hypnotherapist. It's how good. I mean, I read those books five, 6 times. So get them on Audible. I would say get the hard copy. Sometimes what I do is I get the Audible version of a book and the hard copy. I want it in my library shelf. But the Audible version is so if I'm driving, I'm doing the dishes, I'm power walking, whatever, I can listen. I did audiobook. They are so healing. They are very healing. I haven't heard, even my mom, when she was on her deathbed, I've literally lost 3 people in 4 years. So it's not like I don't get what you guys are going through. But I think that losing a baby is always massively shocking. And I'm sure there's a lot of unfairness of accusations and pointing of fingers going back and forth. Okay. But what I'll say is that, that these books, like when I gave that book to my mom, I told my mom, get the book because it's incredible. And she was reading it. Even though she believed in reincarnation, she believed in this and that and everything that you and I are talking about right now, that wasn't the problem. But it soothed her. It gave her an understanding of what to expect and to almost be excited about it, And so that's, you got to really, these books are worth their weight in gold. Any other questions and comments? Okay. So any other questions or comments? I think I'll do a live one day on just a book, one of those books, and read it out loud. I don't have anything here. I'm in the meditation room right now, so it's a little different. You're welcome. What else can we talk? Okay, so when good karma comes to you, right? It's going to come to you and it'll come to you in multiple little packets of jewels and gifts from your guides. Little moments, little tokens of we love you, we're so proud of you, Angie or Jennifer, you're finally or Empress, you're finally walking your path, you're walking your truth. We're so proud of you, right? You get little gifts, and eventually you get the boons of what you need. I think one of the most important things that people need to be self-aware of is this feeling of feeling non-deserving. This reached out to those who needed community. Yes, choose life. Anyway, so any questions or comments? It's like 3:00 in the morning. I was telling my son, I'm going to have to do a live on karma because I knew that was an issue. This live. Yeah. What else? I want to tell you something else. Hang on. What else did I want to tell you that was important? When someone passes, I better tell you that. When someone passes, it's important for you to make sure that you let them know that you are proud of them, you're grateful to them. And I talk to them like this. I'll say, to the one who was once known as Jacqueline Johnson, I no longer call them my mother, or to the soul who was once my mother. I refer them to that in that way, and I'll tell you why. In the Tibetan Book of the Dead, one of the things that the monks used to do, and they still do it in some parts of Nepal and Tibet, is when a person passes for, I think it's 45 days, they come to them There's a monk that will come to the body and speak to it and say, you are not this body. You are not Rudy. Rudy is now gone. Rudy no longer is. This is not who you are. Let go of this body. Do not continue to be attached to it. And they will talk to the body for like 45 days, something like that. It's insane and incredible and magical. And so having learned that from them, I was reading books on Tibetan monks, fascinated by that when I was like 13, 14, 15 years old. I learned that. So when I talk to the spirits of these people who you love, I recommend that you call them not by Joe, to the soul who was once known as Joe. It gives them the ability to not be shackled by any karmic ties to this incarnation that was called Joe. Does that make sense? You're giving them a service. You're letting them. You're freeing them. You're freeing them. Okay, does that make sense? It's important to do things like that. Okay, to the one who was once known as Joe. I'm so grateful to you. Show me that you're okay. Show me a sign, and maybe go into meditation. I'll tell you something that's really important, and I want you to understand that. So, yeah, attachments. I was doing a hypnotherapy session. Me personally, I was under a hypnotherapy session where I wanted to see my husband, right? My ex. We were, not divorced, but anyway. So, and during my travels into going deeper and deeper into hypnosis, right? I saw a little girl running towards me with these long little braids, like light brown hair, absolutely fantastically adorable. And she jumped into my arm, and I knew immediately it was my grandmother. Immediately, soul recognition. She did not have to appear like an old grandmother to show me that was grandma. She appeared to me in her new incarnation as who she was, to show me I'm doing great. I got a new life. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to see you. What are you doing here? How cool is that? And it was that kind of thing. And she jumped into my arms, and I held her, and she wrapped her little arms around my neck, and I knew that it was my grandmother. So sometimes you may see them come to you as you remembered them, okay? But if you see something else appearing that you don't recognize, but you know it's them, in other words, it's not what you remembered them to look like, but it's a younger version of them, which is the best version of them, right? For example, or it's a completely different body. Check with your heart coherence to make sure that it is them, but typically it'll be an immediate recognition. It'll be immediate. It won't be like, I wonder who that is. It'll be, oh my God, Grandpa. It'll be like that. Okay? So that's also another magical reality of connecting with souls who are no longer on 3D planet. Okay? They're doing great. They are doing great. Because we're the ones entrenched in, it's almost like they're showing me an example. It's almost like 3D is akin to us living underwater. Okay? Everything's kind of warped. It's not exactly, And then when we drop our bodies, think of it as a birth into 5D, 6D, 7D, where there's love. There's all this magic. And it's beautiful. So when we mourn, let's be honest, we're mourning the loss of ever hearing the nectar of their voice, their laughter, their smell, if it's your beloved, their touch, all of that. And yet, they are doing so well. They are so happy. And it's normal to grieve, but you have to start learning how to see things with transcendental eyes. Not through the eyes of your ego. And I don't mean ego in a negative way right now. The ego, the human mind, the human experience, not through those eyes, but through the eyes of your soul. That knows it's a temporary separation that's completely an illusion. Because if you really want to connect with them, you can. Like I said, I've been talking to my twin since he passed. Okay? And it sounds woohoo. But it's not. I could tell you more stories after stories after stories of loss. My father, my mother, you know, what you start seeing, the signs. But if you're too buried alive by grief, you will not see the signs. And when you do see the signs, you'll gaslight yourself because you're so in grief, you'll think that you're maybe going a little cuckoo. And that is damaging to you. Does that make sense? Okay? I hope that helped, because that's going to be helpful for you. Hang on for a quick second. Thank you. Okay. Yes. Okay, great. Any other questions? Yes. Okay, good, Empress. So get those books. Get them both. If I were you, if you can do it, get them both. Journey of Souls and Destiny of Souls by Michael Newton. He was an atheist. I think it's actually a big plus that he was an atheist, because it makes you realize that he went down the rabbit hole through hypnotherapy. And he became a believer of incarnation and lives between lives. It was not something he was born with. It was not something he believed in. But there was just so much data, because he had a PhD. You'll see that when you buy his books, and it blew his mind. So there's something kind of cool about that, you know. It means he went from believing in zero to believing in this what many would call woohoo, and it's not woohoo at all. And it's very hard for the human mind to believe in that. The human mind is always trying to denigrate the magic of our soul's existence, and is always trying to convince us that 3D is all that's real. And not to mention, we have all kinds of people in power, scientists and so forth, that are constantly trying to convince us that this is all, it's all that it's all we got is this. And it's not at all. That's why I do hypnotherapy, because when I work with my clients and I see them going into past lives on other planets and shit like that, it's very woohoo, okay? But it's not. And so the expansiveness of our awakening, you know, is very interesting. I talk about Sleeping Beauty as an analogy to the Great Awakening, and how one person awakens, hits the collective and helps the collective awaken. So the more people awaken, the more people will awaken, the better the planet will be, the more generous the planet will be. Does that make sense? Thank you for following me. Why, Yvonne? Any other questions? Any other questions? We need to release them, but we want them still here, and they cannot be here. Yes, well, when somebody's passing away, and I've said that to people, and it's really hard, because it is hard. When, like, you know, because I've actually been on the bedside of 3 people I loved who were passing. 3. And the last thing you want to do is scream and yell and beg them to stay. They can't stay. The body can't keep them here. You got to understand that their body can't stay. Their body no longer works, and the soul has to leave. So screaming and yelling and begging them to stay while they're trying to cross over is actually very unhealthy for them. You can do all of that later. Don't get me wrong. You have a right to grieve and scream and howl. Don't get me wrong. However, if you can, I would suggest that you encourage them, because at this point they have to drop their bodies, and you have to encourage them. Loving words. I love you. We're going to be okay here. Just go. You're going to be fine. You're going to have a great time. They're amazing. You can even mention grandpa's waiting for you, mommy's waiting for you, whatever the hell are meaningful people that cross over before them, that you can kind of give them a sense of excitement that they are going to go, and it's going to be fine, and you're going to be good. With my twin, I said, and I did with my mom, I said to them, we've done this before. You've done this before. We're all very good at this. We've done this hundreds of thousands of times. You're good. You know how to do this. It's just that right now at this moment you've forgotten. But you're pro at this. It's almost a joke, right? But in a way, it's important for us to keep reminding ourselves and the person that is facing imminent death that they're going to be okay. And that it's not the first time they've ever done this, though it might feel that way. Does that make sense? Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay. So I'm actually going to upload this video on my YouTube channel. Feel free to check it out And if I go to, any other questions? Angie, Empress, are you guys going to be okay? I mean, I hope you're going to be able to process this in the healthiest possible way for yourselves. And in terms of family drama, Angie, you definitely want to extricate yourself from that, because you really don't need it. You really don't need it. You have nothing to do with this loss. You didn't do anything. So I'm not sure why there's conflict around you. I think that's sad. Good, Empress. Okay. And again, God bless both of you for your loss. And it is a loss. It is a loss. There's no doubt about it. They will never be as they are. Okay. I wish you the best, Empress and Angie. Thank you, Jennifer. All right, my loves. I hope you're doing well. Try to grieve in the way that you need to grieve. You may want to, I'm being told that you may want to rub your hands together, lay down on your bed or in nature, and rub your hands together until it feels like there's a lot of warmth, electricity, and then scan your body with your hands laying down. Scan your body and see where some of this grief or trauma or any regret or anything like that, where is it trapped in your body? And then send loving, healing energy to that part of the body. It could be your knee, it could be your hip, it could be your rib cage, it could be, I don't know, but try to see if you can do that. I'm lighting a white candle right now. Beautiful. And then sit at the white candle, and if you're able to, I'm not telling you guys to do this, but what I used to do is, and what I've done for my twin is light candles in such a way that I didn't have to attend to them, but they were safe. And I would just keep lighting them until one day, like with my twin, with my mother, with a friend of mine who passed away quite abruptly at the age of 33. I lit candles at different levels, different ways, but the same thing was a white candle. And then one day I would realize, oh, okay, yeah, I'm done. I don't need to light it anymore. They've crossed over. They're good. They did it. They won. When my twin passed, his not to get graphic, but his face was tight, and he was already gone. And we washed and prepared his body and so forth, and put sandalwood oil all over his body, dressed him in saffron and the whole bit, with his malas and all of that in the Bhagavad Gita. And I had said to his body, I was talking to his body saying, we're doing this to you, we're cleaning you, we're doing this, we're doing that. I need you to close your mouth when you can, and I need you to relax your face. I couldn't believe it. By the time me and my son had finished cleaning him, we looked at his face, and his face was in a reposed smile. The body still listens. The body can still remember what it was like to be that person. And I swear to God, it went from a certain look to a completely beautiful, winsome smile. It was amazing. All right, so I'm going to tell you something. Every move you make as a spiritualist, as a multidimensional light being, it doesn't matter what people think about this process of death and dying. Go about your business doing what you're divinely guided to do. You know what to do. Whatever you're guided to do, you're remembering past life ceremonies, things that you did for perhaps that person in a past life. Trust what you're doing and shirk away the doubters, the naysayers. They could be well-meaning, your mother, your father, family, friends. Why are you doing that? Because I'm being guided to do it. And you keep on your business of doing whatever you need to do. You don't have to explain yourself to them, as long as it's driven by your heart, and you're good to go. Okay? All right. All right, my loves. Thank you so much for your time. Go follow me on the YouTube channel. You can follow this live. I'll have the same image. You'll be able to look at this. Good night. You mean good morning. It's bloody early morning. But anyway, thank you so much, Jennifer, for being here. All right. Sending you much love on your journey. Namaste. God bless.